Hello, and welcome to another Transformers Tuesday with Played With. I am your host, and today we're going to go over something that I have just gotten about 2 days ago. Found it at my local Walmart, and it's Decepticon Snapdragon. It's not in the box anymore, but I can't keep my hands off this thing. I was going to do a review for you guys and basically cover, some cool stuff about it. I thought it was going to be like an ape face, which I don't own, but I saw other reviews of, and I'm interested in picking up that figure. But it's incredible, and I'd like to tell you about it. But first, I'm going to show you the last two things in the box. You got another map, and surprisingly enough, I am actually astonished that they changed the plastic for reading the little words on the maps to a more concise, easier to hang on to red piece of clear plastic. I'm kind of excited about that. It's not something that I'm really interested in too much, but I'm definitely going to collect all of the Earthrise figures and build some sort of massive collage of all the maps at some point. I mean, maybe the cards from the last couple of sets weren't really that good of additions, but the maps are kind of cool. They're kind of in between. They're a little bit better than the back the back art for the Studio Series Transformers. I personally don't care about any of that stuff, but I am definitely a crafter, and I love making crafts and arts and all sorts of goodies with my hands and getting it put up on my wall. If I get a chance to, and people show interest in it, I will definitely show you what my little Starlight Arcade looks like. It's a pretty dope little place. It's got some pretty neat art, including a nice centerpiece photograph of Boots Riley. But anyway, this is an amazing figure. It's basically just a really generic robot. When you're first looking at it, doesn't really look like it's going to be much when you're pulling it out of the package, but I don't really even transform him into the robot mode. Or should I say, maybe she, because Snapdragon is distinctly a character who is very feminine and very masculine at the same time. I can't really decide which one I want to prefer. And since there's, like 4 female Transformers, I know, back off, I know there's more than that. I'm just saying, there's a necessity for more. And considering the fact that I know people that look like this, of both sexes, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it just being sort of gender robot. Like, whatever. I don't care. But the guns, they're pretty neat. They've got a lot of detailing to them. Pretty straightforward. No pun intended. They're just pistols, laser weapons, whatever. The headpiece comes off, and yes, this is a very similar robot to Titan's Return. The little head sculpt, which you can see here, is, let's see if I can zoom in on that. There we go, something like that. It does become its own little guy, and I'm very pleased with that. And it's got the face painted, it's got the eyes painted, the hands and legs are different colors than the chest. I'm a big fan of the little Titan's Return. I realize that as an adult man I shouldn't be, but man, I didn't get enough of them as a kid, and now that I can afford more of them, I want them all. I want them all, and I put them on Fortress Maximus, and I stage little cities with them, and leave them in the corner for me to look at, and occasionally pick up and transform the whole playset, because that's me, I'm Played With. Anyway, there's a really neat feature here that I want to point out as I transform them into the Starship dinosaur robot that it is. Yes, and of all the things that are Pirate Ninja Robot Monkey, that is exactly what this figure is, and that's why I can't keep my hands off of them. You can see here that there's clear yellow plastic, teal aqua, I don't know what color that is, purple, dark purple, no, that's white, of course. But like, the colors on this are just such a claw method of getting out of the 80s into the future. There are so many molded details. I mean, there's a T-Rex in here. Yes, I'll show you in just a minute. But the foot flips out, and inside the foot and inside the area where the foot goes is molding. Like, I'm looking in there and seeing little wiring and stuff, and I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time. So I'm enjoying it very much, and that's my cat agreeing with me. So here we go. One of the first basic things you do is you flip up the legs, come around to the back, flip these down, and this creates the nose cone and the tail section for the dinosaur. Flip these sideways, and really it's kind of a generic Transformer. This has been done many times. We've seen it before. It's okay. I mean, I don't mind that, but honestly, like, somehow this does it better than so many others. I mean, even Megatron, who turns into a giant T-Rex like half the time he's anything, is not nearly as pleasurable as seeing this dumb guy. And I'm gonna say dumb because he is basically Alan Tudyk, the robot dinosaur. Like, I'll get to it. Give me just a second. We flip down the legs, and basically the arms just rotate around. You can see the paneling here from the wing. It goes on the inside when he's a robot. It goes on the outside as armor when he's a T-Rex. The chest piece pops off, and you flip these sections down, which are parts of the arms, and then you pull it back, and it pops into the Starfighter nose cone. And that's pretty much it. There's really not a whole lot going on there. But for some reason, when I think about this compared to like Sentinel Prime, which is a really good example of almost the exact same thing, you know, trains and dinosaurs, they were from the same era. You know, I don't know. I'm gonna leave the puns up to Thew if he ever winds up watching this. But basically, you know, robots and trains. Again, more things that, if you're going to turn into three things: robots, trains, planes, jets, spaceships, more dudes. I don't know. When I say dudes, I mean like anything that's, you know, anthropomorphic. It's fine. So he's got tiny little vestigial arms, giant colossal feet, a really long straight tail. I mean, just, you could roll quarters down that. That's fine. And then little, you know, places to put the guns on the back. However, because this is not necessarily intended for little kids, I'm going to show you why I refer to him as Alan Tudyk. When I'm putting this in, this actually becomes really important because the little flanges on the arms go into the empty sockets on the eyes and create the salmon colored eyes that you need. So you fold out this, fold out the head, and I found that when you've got the head in, this is where the head normally, the Titan's return figure, basically head goes in here. You push down on the top of that and it flips up the bottom so that you can get the T-Rex head out easily. Otherwise, you're clawing at this thing and it's a mess. Fold this back up. Now, inside here is another post for the connector for the head for the miniature figure. And what I found is that because it's so hard to get to, you need to have the character standing in order to clip it in. And you usually wait for two pops. One, the first pop engages the head, and then the second pop actually gets it associated so that the little sideways flange things actually hit the eye socket. So there's one, and I think that was actually two. I got them both. But you can see here, you can see that space isn't hollow anymore, and now you can see that makes the jaw. We're familiar with this from some of the most recent characters that were the minifigures that turned into three different things: a weapon, an animal of some kind, and a vehicle of some kind for those characters to ride in. And there were several of them that were pteranodons that turned into T-Rexes and used this as a mouthpiece. Now, this character can fold back in order to hide the faceplate so that it's not as pronounced. And basically, there you go. That's the dinosaur T-Rex mode of Snapdragon. Does it look like a dragon? T-Rex-ish, yes, of course, yeah, I mean, it does. But, like, he has, I've been referring to him as Captain Thunder Underbite because he literally can fold it up and make him look like he's got a really heinous underbite. Or fold it down, fold it just all the way straight down, and just give him just a little bit of an extra overbite there. So I just imagine myself with this character being Alan Tudyk, and then you'll excuse the pun, Alan Tudyk's, if you'll let me have that one. I'll see myself out. It's fine. But I love it. It's so singularly stupid and just delights me in every way. And when I say stupid, what I mean is that logic does not play here. Creativity plays here. And that's not really stupid. I get that, and I'm working on it. But I just can't think of any other way to explain why I'm so in love with this thing. It's fantastic. All the purple, all the dark purple, the little tail that just doesn't, it's almost as vestigial as the arms. And he can growl and do all sorts of things with his mouth. But then, he's got these tiny little arms that come up here in case he's a worried little boy and needs a well to go ponder by. It's just, he's such a delightful little character with so much emotion to it. But anyway, on to the last mode, and this is also one of the best. Basically put the heads back away, fold the arms up, tuck them in, and I try to push them down a little bit so that they give themselves a little bit of clearance. Do that on the other side. Rotate these back, put these away, fold these down. Now, this becomes a little bit problematic because for me, we post these tabs together, and I like the fins to line up. And what I've noticed, and this is a pro tip, rotate this section of the arm, and as you rotate that will get your clearances closer, so that if you're like me and you're neurotic about those things lining up, you'll be okay. But you basically do that on both sides, and if you're lucky, you'll get it. Now the feet have a rear heel that folds out as it rotates around, so you just need to make sure those are up. There's a little wheel here, and then I'll show you guys it's a little bit hard to get. It's very easy if you get it out before you've put the feet together to make the tail / nose cone. But when you're trying to pull it out, there's really not much to go with, and I just cut my nails, so it's hard to do. But that's it. I mean, looking at this thing, it's so sharp and sleek. I mean, just all the lines to it are so razor sharp, and it's such a great version of a spaceship. I mean, you'd think the cockpit would be up here, but it's not. It's back here. So let's take a look inside of that, because of course there's stuff. There's an entire dashboard. And what's that? Oh yeah, that's right. As in some cases, you have characters who have to have their hands folded out in order to be able to sit inside the cockpits. Well, this one does, and it makes him use the dashboard. I love it. I secretly love it. I love dashboard using little figures. I think it's one of the coolest things. I loved it about the G.I. Joe figures back in the day. I loved it about the Transformers figures. I think it's so incredibly interesting, and it makes my little heart pitter-patter all the way around my house. And it's clear plastic, so you get to see him having his fun inside his little cockpit. And then you get the little guns on top, and it just looks incredible. I mean, again, this line is really fantastic for the G1 throwback. The Siege, since Hasbro decided to hand the reins of design over to Takara Tomy, we're getting those high-level executive figures basically on the almost shoestring budget, because we're not having to get them imported anymore. They're coming direct. And on this thing, it has the same issue as always with many of these in the lines, is that when you open them up, you see molding details on the inside that you would have to take hours, basically, of transforming the thing to actually realize that you've looked through it all. And I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with that, because it looks fantastic, it delights me, and it's fun to play with. That's good enough for me. But if you've ever thought back to the old Mask figures where you're like, oh, that is an amazing looking jet. This is an amazing looking jet. If you were looking back to the old, I don't know, just everything about the 80s dinosaur toys, there were so many good looking dinosaur toys. If you think back about the old robots from the 80s, ah, man, there were so many good robot looking dudes in the 80s. And this basically meets all three of those needs. If you stand him up in the robot mode, he's a little more generic looking, so it'd take a passerby maybe 2 or 3 glances to really, cement that. Since it's a new figure, they may second guess themselves and think it's probably a few other things. But really, I mean, I've been raving about this thing, and I don't like all Transformers. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of Transformers that I'm like, no, get GTFO, bro. But this one, I just can't stop. I can't stop playing with it. It's fantastic. I can't wait to put it up on one of the ramps for Fortress Maximus, or actually, he probably belongs on one of the ramps for Trypticon. So that's right. I'm looking at him right back there. It's one of my favorite figures. If you don't have a Trypticon, they're like $80 on eBay now. It's time to get one. It's amazing, and it's city mode. It's incredible. But anyway, here we have it. And I'm going to show you guys a fourth mode that I've sort of discovered as I've played with it. I pop the arms out, fold the chest piece up, and this is completely unofficial. This is not in the guidebook at all. But essentially, I take the arms and put them back where they would be for robot mode. So I fold the sections up, and then there's these little tiny slots to them that I don't know if you can see that, but basically it's this little tooth right here, and you have to be careful with that, because what it does is it slides into a chamber inside the chest cavity on both sides. So you'll know if one's sticking out that you haven't done it right. And I'd hazard putting any sideways tension on it while it's installed so that you don't snap the thing off. It's there for alignment, and the thing will definitely sit in place if you don't have them, but it's just kind of a disappointment if you lose something like that. The arms no longer tab in, and I fold them up so that the green fin lines up with the white side dorsal fin. I guess it would be not a dorsal fin because dorsal is back, but you know what I mean. I'll look that one up later. So I get those rotated around and try to get them complementary to each other so that it doesn't look like I'm actually just doing something of my own volition and actually does something according to instructions. And then we install the guns back on top, and you get an extended version that looks still pretty cool. It's more like a boat. It's got the big surface on the bottom here, but it still looks like his legs are just kind of sticking out. So I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I do it to play with it. So there you go. Anyway, that's about all for Snapdragon. I strongly recommend that you find this toy, pick it up, just transform the ever-loving hell out of it because it's awesome. And on that note, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. If any of you guys are going to be watching the presidential debate tonight, that's what today is, and that's what I'm going to go do after this while I play with this figure. If there's anything that I want to do in this world, it's going to be watching two old geezers duke it out with their words while playing with Snapdragon. Take it easy.